the business for multiple years now. Number one in the Silver Cup race for his category in multiple categories. Let's give Alex Funk a round of applause, District Manager of St. Paul. Let's go. Recommendations. Take a lot of notes. Here we go.
All right. This is not just recommendations. This is called Acres of Diamonds. And I have less time than money material here because I've given this talk, I think, 4 times, and every time I add better stuff to it. So this is Acres of Diamonds 4.0 actually is what this is. So, all right. I'm gonna roll through. So here we go. First of all, before we get into the Acres of Diamonds stuff, like Nick was talking about, we have to talk about recommendations. Why do you want more recommendations? Because more recommendations is more of everything. That's why that is how you continue to sell Cutco. So if anybody's brand new and you're like, I feel like I'm going to run out, you are, unless you get recommendations. It's not like you are going to run out unless you get good at the main skill. And the skill that you get to learn how to do at this job is network, in my opinion. And so if you haven't hit that point yet where you're like, I feel like, then you just haven't made enough phone calls, to put it very nicely. Like, you have to get good at recs. And when you do, you get more of everything. You get more flexibility, you get more experience, you get more enjoyment, confidence, sales, income, position of choice. When you have unlimited people to call, you get more of everything with this job. Everybody close your eyes for a second, okay? What would you envision for yourself? I can see people's eyes open. What would you envision for yourself if you had 500 people to call right now? Okay, would you get off this Zoom afterwards and rip 100 phone calls? 200? Would you not care when Mrs. Jones says no? Like, how would you feel? Imagine if. Okay, now what if you had 500 people to call and every time you did a demo, you got 5 to 10 referrals? How would you feel right now? Invincible? Excited? Okay, what if it was you had 500 people to call and you got 15 to 20 recs on every demo? Okay, there's levels to this. We'll call this level 3. This is where I got as a rep. Every time I did a demo, I got 15 referrals. And it was as awesome as it sounded. Okay, here's level 4 that I never got to, and I wish I would have. I tried. I learned things, didn't implement them as much as I could have. Okay, level 4 is, what if you had 500 people to call, got 15 to 20 referrals every time, and every single person that you were showing lived in $1 million house? How would you feel right now? Right? For most people on here, it's probably unfathomable. Like, you don't even know how you'd feel because it's not, you're so far from that. In your mind, you are. You're actually not that far from that. And I'm going to show you how to do it today. Okay. So before we get into the Acres of Diamonds stuff, please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe right now, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, but also because it helps you. Okay. I love seeing the chats and the texts of like, hey, I just, watch your YouTube and got 15 recs. It's like, good, because I put 4 years into this job and then put the material out there so you don't have to go through all the learning curves and not have the stuff to learn from. Like, all the videos are there for you to learn. So please take advantage of them. The whole section on the channel with recs, just watch every video 1 time or watch the same video 5 times and recs won't be an issue anymore. If you're still not getting 15 recs every time, you just simply have not watched these videos enough times. It's that, like, it's really that simple. Okay, so first things first, write this down. Here we go. You got to memorize the recs approach. If you don't have the recs approach memorized, I actually do feel kind of bad. Because you may have not just have the awareness that that's like the only thing that matters when it comes to recs. The recs approach is your foundation. You cannot build a building without a foundation. It takes as much work and time and dedication to the foundation of a building as it does to the actual building. This is the Burj Khalifa. It's in Dubai. I want to go there, but one of my friends went there and he said it's not really worth going there. But the recs approach is your foundation. You have to get this down first, okay? If you go out and do your demos and try to implement all the Acres of Diamonds stuff before getting the recs approach memorized, it's a recipe for disaster. Okay. Part of me doesn't even want to give you the acres of diamond stuff because most people here aren't even getting 5 referrals right now. So get 5 referrals, then get 10, then get 15, and then start to implement. But I'm going to give you all the good stuff anyway, because, you know, I love you guys and you deserve it because you're here. Okay. So when it comes to recommendations, it starts with the approach. The next thing, the next 3 things I should say are these 3 things: mindset, energy, and fun. Number 1, you have to be so good that they can't ignore you. What that means when it comes to recommendations in your presentation is if you give an awesome presentation, you know everything about all the products, you kill it with the jokes, you're super personable, they're excited by the end of it to give you referrals. That means you did a good enough job that you've earned recommendations. Okay. If you get to the end of your presentation and they don't want to give you recs, it's kind of your fault, because you have to ask yourself at the end of every presentation, would I have wanted to give referrals to me in that presentation? If the answer is no, then why would you expect Mrs. Jones to? So you have to be so good that by the end of it, they're like, that was worth an hour of my time. That was awesome. You crushed it. That was way more valuable to me than watching The Voice or watching another episode of Yellowstone or, you know, scrolling on Facebook for an hour. Like, that was worth it for me. It's with HM30s, it's a low barrier to entry. Like, it's a low bar. I know what my mom does after work, like not a lot, right? So no offense to my mom. It's just like, your demo should be that good. Okay. How do you make it that good? Bring the energy, bring the fun, right? Like, get up in your screen, smile while you dial, set the tone early. Biggest thing, be memorable. When the demo's over, do they remember who you are? Do they remember what you're selling? Do they remember your jokes? I'm reading a great book. It's called The Power of Moments. And one of the studies in the book is like, they had they had 2 test groups. One of the groups, they got slapped in the face, I think it was, for 15 minutes. And at the end, they got a lollipop. The other group got slapped in the face for 5 minutes. They asked both groups, would you do it again? And it was like double or triple of the people that got a lollipop said yes than the people who said no. And the whole point of this, or then the group that didn't get a lollipop, the whole point of the study is that you don't even have to be spotless with your presentation for the full hour, but can you create some key moments where you nail a joke, or where you build the perfect amount of rapport, or where so just be memorable and give a great presentation. Set proper expectations is huge. You have to talk about referrals early and often. I was talking to somebody today, and it's a very common thing where if you're getting objections on recommendations, usually it's because the objection wasn't pre-handled. How do you pre-handle any objections with recommendations? You plant seeds early and often. In the power intro, there's a Burt Wicks power intro document. You guys just saw Burt, right? Legend. Hey, I only know so many people. During COVID, I guess I didn't update that part, but it's not really COVID anymore. Goals talk. Hey, my biggest goal is not to sell you $10,000 of Cutco. My biggest goal is that we have so much fun today that you would want to tell everybody that you know about the Knife Kid. So I can get to my 40 appointments by next Monday to hit my huge SC1 goal or whatever it is. So talk about recs early and often. This is the power of priming, which is in a lot of books and stuff like that. You can also prime with 3 promises. People have these different ways, but at the beginning of your presentation, you could say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I have 3 promises for you. 1, I'm going to be the highlight of your day. 2, I'm going to show you everything that Cutco makes and ask you if you want to buy it. And number 3, I'm going to ask you for referrals. Patrick always says, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to be your most expensive friend. That's one of his promises. Okay, number 3, and then we're almost to the acres of diamond stuff. You have to ask. And when you ask for referrals, it has to be assertive. You have to use the approach, use the script. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Be confident, be assumptive, be friendly. Please go study my YouTube. There's a video on there called The Climb. And it is really, really important to you that in your Rex approach, you are patient and you get one recommendation at a time. Where a lot of people mess up is they barrel roll through the present or through the Rex approach. And it's like, hey, Mrs. Jones, how'd you like my demo? Great. Well, there's one more very important part. This is how you can really help me out. I get paid every time I show Cutco, but I can only show Cutco to people I've been personally recommended to. So what I'd love for you to do is grab your phone, access your contacts, and let me jot down the first 200 to 300 names. Just kidding. Like 10 to 15 would be awesome. I'm not looking for people you think would buy, just nice people like you that are willing to take a look. And we can start with names. I have my Rex notebook right here. We can start with names, go back and get numbers. Who's the first person that you can think of? Some people on here, that's how you, well, most of you don't have the approach memorized like that. But if you do, or if you're reading it, that's what it feels like to the customer. And that's overwhelming. That's why they say they can't think of anybody. You just freaked them out. So go slow, be patient, let them access their contacts, let them grab their phone, and then do the climb. There's a video on my YouTube, again, go watch it. It's called Rex is Easy, The Climb, or something like that. Some clickbait title. All right, Acres of Diamonds. Here we go. I got to blast through this like a rocket ship. What do diamond recommendations lead to? You can work hard right now, build this base, and then work really smart during SC2. By really smart, that means you could either do a ton of presentations and sell a ton of Cutco, or you could do some presentations and still sell a lot of Cutco. Okay, that's up to you. What does an amazing network lead to you outside of Cutco? A lot of awesome things. I like showing this because I think it's a really cool visual of what network can do for you. So here's me and a guy named Charlie Rocket. Some of you might have heard of him before. One of my cousins, Thomas Funk, he just texted me the other day. Do you know, did I see somewhere, you know, Charlie Rocket? And I sent him a couple pictures and selfies. He's like, dude, I've been listening to him on every podcast. I can't believe you met him. Right. And I know I have Charlie Rocket's phone number. Matt Eisman is the host of American Ninja Warrior. That's me and him right there. He actually got me an in when I actually trained for it and, like, you know, can actually do it physically. I'm going to be on American Ninja Warrior, but I'm pretty far from there right now. My houses that I bought, Alex Hermosi, I've met him. I had a full conversation with Alex Hermosi. Some of you know who that is. How have I met these people? Not because of my parents, not because of where I grew up, not because of anything like that. It's because of the network that I've exposed myself to. I grew up in a town of 1,000 people. Like, nobody I know knows these people until I met people that introduced me to them. So here's me. Here's Cutco. Cutco is the catalyst to a lot of this. He's a guy named Jacob. Some of you know him. Introduced me to my coach, Mike Chu, who introduced me to Charlie Rocket at a retreat. Cutco led me to Jack Ryan and Danny Haish. I was at a Tony Robbins retreat when Danny Haish said, "That don't you want to be an American Ninja Warrior? That's Matt Eisman." Boom, met him there. Dane and Nick, you just talking to Nick, right? Dane told me about a podcast, Bigger Pockets, who led me to this realtor. Nick, his wife Becca, is my realtor. And then Chris Carr is my lender. They helped me buy some of these houses. Alex Hermosi came from a retreat right there. And so all of this, like, this is what you have the ability to go create with your referrals. This person leads to that person, to this thing, to that. That's what network does for you. Okay. You are who you hang out with. You are who you surround yourself with. You are who you talk to. You are who you get introduced to. Okay. If you're the biggest fish in your swimming pool, you need to get in the ocean. Always be a small fish, meeting bigger fish, getting eaten by bigger fish. That's how you grow. All right. Put that down in your notes. All right, here's one more example. Dane Espegard, I went down to Austin. This is a kid's birthday party. It's probably weird of me to take a picture of a kid's birthday party, but I wanted to take this picture because the guy in the black shirt in the middle of the picture, his name is Aaron Amuchastegui, and I was not going to ask him for a selfie, but I was hanging out with these guys. And Aaron Amuchastegui on the right, you can't read that probably. Those are all podcasts he's been on. He's like a real estate mogul. Like, he's a really big name in real estate. He's been on all those podcasts. But I talked to him for like 10 minutes. Why? Dane took me to his kid's birthday or whatever. So the point is, like, you are who you get to be around, right? Okay, so how does this apply to Cutco? In your demos, you have to ask for what you want. Here's some questions, okay? Hey, Miss Jones, who do you know in sales? Michael Lau right now is meeting with all these like sales VPs, whatever. And he started with a little fish and he's like built his way up through referrals, and he's seeing some awesome people because Mike just went All-American in St. Paul. Some of you know him, Big Mike, Coach Mike. And he's doing a great job with this acres of diamonds concept. Or you could ask, who do you know that lives in wealthy neighborhood? Who do you know, Miss Jones, that could buy the whole presentation? Who do you know that went to school to be a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer? Who do you know that dropped out of school and started their own business? Who do you know that sends their kids to blank school? Maybe take a picture of these because I'm going quick through them, right? But ask for what you want. You want to see some rich people? Ask to see some rich people. One of my friends, Jack Ryan, some of you know Jack Ryan, some of you know him really well. Sold Cutco for a long time, ran the #2 branch in America. Now he's networking right now. The job he has is with a guy named Tommy Breedlove. He's an author of a book right here. I'm not going to grab it because I don't have time. Jack Ryan has met NFL players. He was on a boat with Simon Sinek last week, if you know who that is. He's met, like, there are all these, we were playing football catch or basketball the other day, and he's like, oh yeah, I just met blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, because of Tommy. And Jack was really good at this when he was with Cutco. He showed the vice president of sales for the Minnesota Vikings. He showed one of the top sales guys at like corporate Disney. And he was really, really good at networking and asking for who he wanted to see. That's why Jack is where he is right now. Okay. So for you, jot down, like, in your life, and I'm not giving you time to jot down, but take a picture of this. What is the profession that you want to show? What's your dream job? Have you showed those types of people Cutco? Your goals hit different if you're going to be a nurse and you're in front of a nurse. Okay. What is the city that you'd like to get into? Okay. What's the neighborhood? What schools do you want the parents of? What's your dream car? It's important to jot these things down, and you need to activate your reticulatory activating system. Okay, you have to turn that on for what you want. If you don't know who you want to show Cutco to, you're just going to get Rex, and these might be really poor prospects, but it's because you're not even asking for what you want. So when you say, who are like 3 people or whatever? Oh, do you know anybody? Right? They maybe give you like 2 people. They might be the worst 2 recommendations ever, and you might have been better off just like doing a popsicle stand with Cutco or something like that. I don't even think you can't do that. I think it's illegal. But my point is, all of this matters a ton. So when you're talking about acres of diamonds, qualify the Rex in the demo. Okay. Who's married? What are the spouses' names? Who would you call if you were me? Who on this list cooks a lot? I'm going to show you in a second another way to qualify Rex. Okay. So you can qualify in the demo. I'm going to show you how to pre-qualify in a second. Who's home during the day? I used to always ask this, especially in a push when you're trying to book a bunch of demos, asking them who's home during the day. Then you call those people first, book your day slots up so you only have nights left. Or when your nights get booked, only call the letter Ds. When you have 500 people to call, this is important for you not to waste your time phoning. Okay. Some other big tips, you can always overpay for the top of your funnel. And what I always tell this to our people in St. Paul is that you can give free cut. Let's say you're with someone and they're giving you 15, 20 Rex, and you say, hey, by the way, for every 10 people that actually sit down with me, I'll buy you that fisherman solution. And they're like, huh? Then there's a little more skin in the game for them to get a more personalized heads up out, right? You could always do free peeler for 15 Rex. I always did this. How did I get 15 Rex 44 times in a row? I give a peeler to every single person. Your manager can get them for, I think, like $6. Okay, I have a box at the office. Okay, so you can give free peeler. You have to understand how much this is worth for you. Okay, you have to really internalize what it would mean if you had 500 people to call, like I said earlier. A couple other things, start to be a business owner. And then here's a question you can always ask your customers. Hey, would you be against giving me 20, 25? Would you be against giving me the top 3 people in your phone book? Okay, ask it in a way that they can't really say no, because a no in that case is actually a yes. And then the last thing I want to show you how to do, last little tip for you. Okay, this is like when you graduate from every step. This is, so there's a concept of this, qualifying the Rex when you get them. There's a whole different game to play that Luke Schammel sold a lot of Cutco. Nick knows him, obviously, and some of the vets. Luke taught me this my second summer, I think it was my first summer. So he taught me this. qualify the demo before the recs. Okay. I've never taught this before, but I thought of it today. I was like, oh my gosh, I should teach that. So how you do this is when you have appointments set up, some of you have 5, 10, 15 appointments set up right now. You can look up that person online, find their home value, find the neighborhood value, find out what they do for work, find out everything about them. So I'm going to show an example really quick. This guy's name, his name is Brett Baldry. Okay. So I'm going to really quick have to animate because this is going to be in the way, add effect, appear, and play slide. All right. And then I'm done, Nick, I'm done. So here's an example for you. Here's 15 recs I got one time from a guy named Norm Iverson. And I blurred out the phone numbers. Don't even think about it. And I just, today for fun, I was like, all right, who should I show? Brett Baldry, because I did a demo with Brett. So I looked up Brett on Google. I did this while Dane was talking, actually. It took me like 3 minutes. Looked up Brett, found him. Here's his current address. Here's his age. Here's where he lives. By the way, his cell phone number right here, 612, whatever, it was actually on there. So if you're like scraping for leads right now, fast people search, his cell phone was actually on the site. I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. So his number was on there. His address was on there. Looked up his address on Redfin. House is worth $680,000. Think that's a good person to show Cutco to? Okay. And then I was like, well, what else can I find? Oh, his wife's name, Stacy. Cross-check my leads. Dang it. Oh, cross-check my leads. Yep. Stacy is his wife. So then I dug a little deeper, looked at Brett on Google, found him on LinkedIn, okay, ICS, whatever that is, okay, it looks like he's the vice president. Looked up Stacy, pretty easy, found her on LinkedIn, found out she switched jobs a couple of years ago, found her family on Facebook, and now because of 3 minutes of digging, I know that Brett and Stacy live in a $700,000 house. All 3 kids go to the Becker School District. Their oldest kid plays football. Okay, he just started, actually, he's young, he's in middle school. They're a Christian family, Vikings fans. The kid is a Seahawks fan, so he's a bandwagon. They go camping every 4th of July. Stacy's from Pierce. She supported my aunt's cancer mission, yada, 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 yada. All of that is ammunition when you get to referrals. Does that make sense to you guys? You use all of that for referrals. That's like a next level. We could talk about that later. But Nick, or just subscribe to my YouTube, and then Nick, you can take it away.